Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This, of course, is another anime reaction video. Today, we're getting back into some more Noragami Aragoto, this time, episode 8. In the last episode, we saw a bunch of really interesting things that'll potentially be a part of this season going forward. The first being, we got to kind of look at it like more almost like a high council of other, like, especially powerful gods, I assume, when we were there with, watching like a meeting going on with some superiors, I assume, of Bishamon. That was really interesting. On top of that, we got some stuff going on between the relationship of Yato and Yukine. Those are always entertaining to watch because, you know, they usually end with lessons being learned and the bond between them becoming stronger, especially when Kofuku, not Kofuku, Daikoku, that's right, was explaining to Yukine how since himself and Yukine were both the only regalia for their specific master, for their god, they are also the guiding voice, which is just really interesting to think about, especially because the only really other like guiding voice character we've seen in the show so far has been Kazuma, and he's been a really like his relationship with Bishamon, his master, was super awesome to learn about earlier in this season. I think. Oh wait, no, almost forgot. Then there was Hiyori's adorable little handmade shrine for Yato. That was really sweet, and I think it was kind of implying that we were gonna get to know a little bit more of why exactly Yato really wants his own shrine outside of being a god, obviously, because it seems like he's been wanting one for a long time. Like we saw a little bit of a flashback almost of what looked like little boy Yato, who's very small. And the only time we've seen gods in small forms has been in like visions of like hypotheticals, like with what Kugaha wanted. He wanted to kill the current Bishamon so she'd be reincarnated and she'd be like, you know, a little tiny baby version of herself, and then Kugaha could manipulate her and raise her into being what he wanted her to be. And then we saw in last episode a small version of Kofuku, which I should start calling her Kofuku now because there's a new character called Ebisu, you know, in the trench coat. But I'll get to him in a second. But he was Daikoku was mentioning if she did die, he would have to, you know, continue watching over her after she reincarnates. So it's almost like what happened with Yato in his past is that he was abandoned after he was reincarnated once, and he felt, oh, you know what it might have been. I've got a lot of theories now that I've thought about it, but I'm gonna say it was the shrine he saw when he first reincarnated, and nobody was there for him. He looked really down on the in the dumps, really impoverished, so to speak. But then he saw the shrine, and he's like, "I'll do whatever it takes to get that shrine, and I'll even become a god of calamity, and you know, wreck some shit up just to get it." That's what it almost makes me feel like when we saw the little tiny baby boy version of Yato. But it could also be that was like it was after somebody managed to kill him and he reincarnated, and then he was like, oh, what I really want is a shrine and something the kindness of somebody who made this tiny shrine for me made me change my ways, and that's why I only charge 5 yen type thing, you know what I mean, like a redemption, so to speak. But I guess we won't find out until we get started. Obviously saving it for the last thing because it was the last thing in the episode, but Ebisu is actually the dude in control of the masks. Those fucking guys who've been like background antagonists for a pretty decent amount of time so far. Most recently with, of course, Kugaha. There wasn't much else explanation really given other than just like end of last episodes, like, whoa, oh my god, you know what I mean? But man, without further ado, let's get started with episode 9. I'm really interested to see where this goes. As always, links down in the description below will be taking you to either BitChute or Pixel Drain. You can follow one of those links where you can watch the full-length uncut reaction. Then you can come back to YouTube after that for the discussion. I will say, it wasn't recent. It was technically recent, like in the last week. Pixel Drain has, I guess, had issues with people abusing the player because of gore stuff. So they've restricted it to only downloading things, downloading files off of Pixel Drain. I don't know why it took me so long to say that. As far as I know, I'm not part of the problem because I was reading the tweets from the creator, and it was just because of like gore and shit. So I think I should be fine, but if you want to stream it, I'm pretty sure it's BitChute only now. But that's pretty much it. I've been talking way too long for this intro. So I'm just going to start with episode 8 of Noragami Aragoto. I guess because we're doing more of that setting up for the rest of the season type thing, for this arc, we're getting a whole lot less whole lot less answers, and a whole lot more questions. I don't recall if they brought it up before, but I feel like they might have. But it's interesting that they're going through with the concept of forgetting Yato, and then pairing that with him disappearing. So earlier in this episode, I was watching the bit, the bit of interactions when Nora was fetching Yato, so to speak, and she was saying, first of all, father. Fuck, man, so many questions. Who is father? Is it the same person who was talking to what's his name? Ebisu. Is he the puppet, the man behind the masks? Because I feel like what's his name? I'm adjusting the camera. Excuse me. It doesn't seem like Ebisu is just doing this for like fun. It seems like he's doing it for a reason, especially because he's saying it's like a weird process that still ends up tainting him, and it leaves him bedridden. I like getting Yukine training, but it makes me think that, and is he literally father? It's a capital F, so it's like a proper thing. In the middle of a sentence, father would normally be lowercase f, but father, that would imply that's his name, or at least his title, something to make it capitalized and proper, you know what I mean? So who is he exactly? And something about him or Nora or something they've got something to convince Yato, no matter how long they've been doing this, because we don't know for sure yet, to come back to this life. He's got to have something over Yato, whether it's like, was this father person? He must have been the same person who was raising him, the one who was telling him he didn't need a shrine. It's almost like he's like trying to raise an army to fight the other gods or something. He's like, you don't need a shrine. You're not going to be a god. We're going to New World Order, get rid of the hierarchy and shit like that, or something. I don't know. It's crazy. It's mad crazy. And I remember thinking, man, hearing Nora talk to Yato there, trying to get him to take her back and like join her side, so to speak, whoever or whatever their side technically is. But I remember thinking, man, this is like a lot like what would be happening if you were a person that fucked around a lot, had a lot of partners, so to speak, but then you found somebody to settle down with, but then a particularly crazy person that you messed around with, so to speak, came back. And he's like, they don't love you like I would, type thing. Like, it's almost, but that's exactly what this is. It's exactly a toxic relationship, a toxic, insane, like ex-boyfriend / girlfriend type person who's like, they can't do anything for you. They would just betray you. I would never betray you. They don't love you like I do, type thing. That's fucking crazy. And I think that's a really interesting thing for them to tackle, because that's been set up for a long time, hasn't it? Throughout this whole series so far, between season 1 and 2, they put so much emphasis on the relationship between Master and Regalia. We've been building up the relationship between Yato and Yuki since they first met. We've just like seen how they've grown. Not only like their relationship has grown, how they've grown from people, because of each other. Like, they caused the other person to, change, their ways. It's been their like relationship has been invaluable to the way that they are as people. And, we got more reinforcements of that, the strength of that bond when we saw the shit going on with Bishamon and Kazuma and, Kugaha as well, because his motivation had a lot to do with relationships. So it's kind of crazy how, when you think about it, Noragami's been doing this from the beginning, and I've only kind of like been able to fully realize and like articulate that very recently, like just now even. Like that's what this whole series has been about. It's crazy, but man, yeah, great episode. Interested to see how things progress, especially because that last bit of the episode, just like so many more questions being asked. Who is father? Who is it that visited them? Are they suspicious? Because it looks like I forget his name, but dude in the shades and the blonde hair, he was like, I'll take you surfing or whatever he said in his Hawaiian shrine. He but Bishamon was pretty quiet in the whole interaction, and I don't want to say that's not like because they've both got like an angry look, but I almost feel like Bishamon has like kind of like a suspicious look. I don't know if that's true or not. Who knows what she knows? But all I'm saying is she looks good in that, and I didn't recognize that was Bishamon at first. I should have. Not many long-haired blonde women with like purple eyes, but you know what? But what? The only thing I can think of is taking over, is overthrowing the people that are killing the phantoms, whatever they're doing with the phantoms. You know, like a hierarchy, and they're trying to overthrow it for some reason. But I was kind of right. I didn't think Ebisu was doing this independently because of the whole blight thing. That's been like a serious, obstacle when it comes to, that was one of the biggest obstacles when it came to the relationships between Yato and Yukine and Kazuma and Bishamon, is the blight, and the corruption of the master type thing. So the fact that he got so much just to like put a mask on this phantom and turn it into a regalia, he'd either have to have like some like huge ambition that I'm just like too foolish to comprehend right now, or he's doing this for someone else for some reason, because they were setting up in the previous arc that was Kuga's plan, is to kill the current Bishamon, have her reincarnate or whatever they want to call it, I forget, and then from that point on raise her to be the kind of god he wants her to be, and like be a puppet in the shadows type thing. And since they confirmed it, they mentioned it, Ebisu's had many successions, that's what they're called, someone would have had to be pulling the strings behind. Because as far as I know, they don't retain their memories between successions. And I think it's that person who visited him in the hospital without anybody being able to stop him, because he was telling his regalia, specifically Ebisu he doesn't want any visitors. He's able to slip past them, and Nora refers to him as father. And this father person has a connection to Yato. I'm pretty confident it's the person we saw who was holding little baby Yato's hand, and telling him he doesn't need a shrine. For what reason any of this is happening, I don't know. But it's almost like that was after Succession as well. Because we've only seen kid versions, like, in regards to Succession, right? So it almost makes me think that, like, Yato was this crazy god of calamity or whatever, and then because of somebody killed him, probably, maybe this father guy killed him, and Succession, and now I'm gonna manipulate him to be my perfect tool type thing. I don't know, I might just be speaking insane things right now. And I guess we won't find out until we watch more of this eventually. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. If you enjoyed this video and you watched all to this point, thank you so very much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed. It really helps me out a lot. And subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single upload in the future. Thank you once again for watching. Peace.